Thanks, David. Hi, everyone. I'm Trent Carlisle, the CTO and co-founder of Logical. Thanks to Integra and the GLBC for having us today. Our company, Logical, does a number of things in the legal industry. You've probably seen us out there podcasting today, Legal Talk Network. We also have a brand new product for e-filing called courtfiling.net. But the proof of concept I'm going to talk about today really comes from our roots in Logical, and that's legal support and service of process. And ServeManager is essentially a product that allows a process server and a client to collaborate on all their service or process work. So this is my third time, I believe, presenting this proof of concept since early this year, and it's really a concept that I think in legal people are able to kind of wrap their head around and make sense, especially in the context of service or process where it's really ripe for innovation and sophistication. So before I get into the proof of concept, just a quick glance at what ServeManager is. As I said, it's a software product that manages the complete life cycle of all of your process serving jobs. So think of it as a practice management solution for service or process. As of this year, ServeManager is now the most popular tool for process serving companies and their law firms to manage and track their service or process jobs. Last month, we did about 120,000 serves. We created 120,000 new serves on our platform, and that number continues to grow month after month, obviously with some of the largest firms in legal support using the product. So before I get into the proof of concept, the main problem that we were trying to solve about 5 years ago when we launched the product was essentially the black hole that we like to call it, where your papers seem to have fallen into once they left your desk. Not only was there no communication on job status, but transparency on the details of attempts, and the job was lacking. A lot was still handwritten, still is today, unfortunately, and that's notes from the field, that's the affidavit, all these things that help tell the story of whether the serve was a valid serve, that history. Available mobile technology wasn't being utilized on a large scale, and in addition to the possibility of errors with handwritten pieces of paper and data entry, there unfortunately were a lot of affidavits that were falsified. In 2009, New York City kind of had a crisis on their hands when 66% of the city's consumer debt cases led to default judgment after sewer service, which is essentially not notifying someone who is party to a case who is being sued. So it's as good as just kind of throwing those papers down the sewer or in the trash. So because of this, New York City process servers and the Department of Consumer Affairs created a compliance program that was quite cumbersome and requires the storing of both digital and written records. So it's still a pretty broken process to this day, and one that we feel that our proof of concept could potentially assist with as an alternative to their current compliance system, but also a tool for verifying validity of service or process on a much larger scale. So to summarize, our proof of concept provides courts, law firms, governing bodies, and parties to a case with access to verifiable, untampered service or process data. And I'm going to go ahead and get into the POC right now. I'll share some screen grabs and kind of describe how it works along the way. But this is ServeManager. This is our mobile interface out in the field. This is where a process server would open the job on their mobile device. They make what we call an attempt to serve those papers. And when a process server inputs the service details into ServeManager, an API is made to Integra's blockchain to store the attempt metadata from the process server's device. The metadata we capture includes GPS data, timestamp, device information, and some other relevant job data stored in ServeManager as well. Integra then responds back to us with an ID that can be used to retrieve that data that was posted to blockchain. That ID can be used in a number of ways in a number of places. In ServeManager, as you see here, this is kind of a blown up screen grab of what we call our accountability report on all service attempts. And this report essentially displays the same device metadata that gets posted to blockchain, even runs some calculations as far as, how far was that process server physically from the address that they stated that they were at. So you can actually see that blockchain verification ID is linked here, and in a moment I'll show you where that would go if you were to be able to click on that and confirm that the data that's in ServeManager actually matches what is posted to blockchain as well. Another place this ID could be used is on the actual physical affidavit of service itself. And this really might be where this concept becomes kind of real and most interesting. You're a judge, attorney, you're a party to the case. Holding this affidavit and legitimacy of service comes into question. You now have a source, you now have an ID for verification of accuracy, and you can use that ID to see the data that was captured at the time of service, and because it's on blockchain, it can't be tampered with. So this is the actual additional component that we built. Here's the kind of the real world piece, the verification tool that our team built. Anyone with the blockchain ID, which you could see was dropped in there earlier, of the service attempt can come here, plug in the ID, then see the metadata related to that service attempt. So if the data on your affidavit is different than what you see here, validity of the serve should come into question. If it matches, you can likely trust that the service was perfected as the process server had claimed. It's a pretty straightforward concept. We're taking a lot of the data that we already have and we're posting it to blockchain as a untamperable source. There's more that we can be doing here. Certainly, we could expose more data on the process server's activity to get a better understanding of feasibility. For instance, if they were 200 miles away 10 minutes before they served this particular paper, there's probably something wrong there. We could expose more data on the job from ServeManager itself, info on the recipient, other attempts on the job to tell a more complete story of the serve. Not all serves are kind of one attempt and done. Sometimes they can last weeks or months to get someone served. So we feel that this proof of concept could be a pretty powerful tool and possibly change service of process as a whole. This could give courts, law firms, governing bodies a more reliable way to verify service was perfected legally and in a manner in which a process server had states. And in many cases, especially in the instance of New York City, we're also protecting consumers as well. Where could this go? This ultimately could lead us to, is it possible that this notion of a service of process data on blockchain could serve as the affidavit itself? We're essentially providing a series of digital entries that could show the complete history of a serve and verifies when and how it was perfected. So we're storing all that in ServeManager now. We're posting that to, in theory, we'll be posting that to blockchain as well. And then we're taking that and we're putting it on a piece of paper. Would the court someday consider accepting data posted on blockchain as proof? Certainly would save a lot of time, resources, notifications would be instant. Then you think about, what happens after it's served and you have this affidavit, it has to be filed. That filing could be almost instant as well. That's it. That is my time. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'll probably be here most of the day over with the Legal Talk guys or just kind of milling about. If you want to see the proof of concept in real life, just Google service process on blockchain or go to this URL if you have questions after this event.